The Galactic Council had always believed that they controlled the stars. They ruled over hundreds of species, conquered countless systems, and expanded their empire without opposition. But one place had remained untouched: human space. For centuries, humanity had stayed quiet. They attended peace talks but never shared much information. They traded but never revealed their true technology. They existed, but they never engaged. Most species assumed that humanity was simply weak or uninterested in power. Then, the disappearances started. It began with small scouting ships, vessels that accidentally drifted too close to the Sol system, the heart of human territory. At first, the Council dismissed them as accidents. Space was dangerous after all. But then, entire patrols vanished. No distress signals, no debris, no signs of battle. It was as if the ships had simply been erased. Admiral Xortal, a seasoned warrior of the Velari Empire, refused to accept the mystery. He had fought countless battles, and he did not believe in ghosts. He ordered a team of elite spies to infiltrate human space and uncover the truth. They never returned. But one did manage to send a single transmission before disappearing. "They see us." The message was short, but it sent chills through the council chamber. How? The spies had used the most advanced cloaking technology in the galaxy. It should have been impossible for humanity to detect them. And yet they had. The council held an emergency meeting. Some leaders wanted to leave humanity alone, fearing that any action could provoke something dangerous. Others, like General Tarkus, believed that this was proof that humanity was hiding something. "They have a secret," Tarkus growled, slamming his fist onto the table. "Something powerful, something they don't want us to know about. And I refuse to sit back and let them keep it." Despite warnings from more cautious leaders, Tarkus gathered a fleet of warships and personally led them toward the edge of human space. He was not planning to attack. He only wanted to show strength. If humanity was truly weak, they would be forced to talk. If they were hiding something, they would be exposed. The fleet entered the Forbidden Zone, a region of space where no council ship had ever dared to go. The stars around them felt wrong. The emptiness was too empty. Even the cosmic background radiation seemed to fade away. Then their sensors shut down. "General, we're losing all readings," one of his officers reported in panic. Before Tarkus could respond, the lights flickered. The ship's engines stopped. Every screen went black. A heavy silence filled the air. Then the voice came. It did not come through their speakers. It did not come from a visible source. It spoke directly into their minds. "You were warned." A wave of terror spread through the crew. Some screamed. Others clutched their heads, shaking violently. Tarkus himself felt something he had never known before: pure, raw fear. Then, one by one, the ships in his fleet vanished. No explosions, no wreckage, just gone. Tarkus ordered a retreat, but it was too late. His command ship was the last one remaining. As he watched his fleet disappear into nothingness, he realized the truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had never been uninterested in power. They had simply been watching. And now, they had decided to send a message. Before he too was taken by the void, Tarkus managed to send one last message to the council: "Do not enter human space. Ever." Then, there was only silence. "You said." The Galactic Council had ruled over countless species, expanding their empire across the stars. But there was one place they had never touched: human space. For years, humanity had remained quiet, distant, never engaging in wars or seeking power. Many believed they were weak, an unimportant species with nothing to offer. But then, the disappearances began. At first, it was just a few scouting ships that strayed too close to the Sol system, their signals cutting off without explanation. No wreckage, no distress calls, just silence. The council dismissed it as coincidence until entire patrols vanished. Panic spread as the reality set in. Something was happening in human space, something that no one could explain. Admiral Tortal, a veteran of many battles, refused to believe in ghosts. He ordered elite spies to infiltrate human space and uncover the truth. Every single one of them disappeared. Only one managed to send a final transmission before vanishing. "They see us." The word sent fear rippling through the council. How? The spies had used the best cloaking technology in the galaxy. No one should have been able to detect them. But humanity had. An emergency meeting was called. Some council members wanted to leave humanity alone, believing they had just stumbled onto something they were never meant to see. Others, like General Tarkus, were convinced this was proof that humanity was hiding something dangerous. "They have a secret," he declared, his voice filled with certainty. "Something powerful, something they don't want us to know about. And I refuse to sit back and let them keep it." Against the warnings of the more cautious council members, Tarkus assembled a fleet and led them straight to the edge of human space. He did not plan to attack, only to show strength. If humanity was weak, they would be forced to talk. If they were hiding something, they would be exposed. As the fleet entered the Forbidden Zone, an eerie stillness filled the air. The space around them felt wrong. The stars looked dim, as if reality itself was bending. Then, without warning, their sensors went dark. "General, we're losing all readings," an officer shouted, but before Tarkus could react, the ship's engines shut down. Every screen flickered and died, plunging the command deck into silence. Then a voice spoke. It did not come from their communication systems. It did not echo through the ship. It spoke directly into their minds. "You were warned." Terror gripped the crew. Some screamed. Others clutched their heads, shaking violently. Even Tarkus, a hardened warrior, felt something he had never felt before. True fear. One by one, the ships in his fleet started vanishing. There were no explosions, no battles, no enemy ships, just an eerie nothingness where warships had once been. Tarkus ordered a retreat, but it was too late. His command ship was the last one remaining. As he watched his fleet disappear, he realized the horrifying truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had never been uninterested in power. They had simply been watching. And now, they had decided to send a message. Before his ship, too, was taken by the void, Tarkus sent a final transmission to the council. "Do not enter human space. Ever." Then the signal cut off, and silence filled the galaxy. The Galactic Council was in chaos. General Tarkus' fleet had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only his final warning. "Do not enter human space. Ever." Fear spread like wildfire. Some council members demanded immediate retaliation, believing humanity had committed an act of war. Others, more cautious, argued that they had no idea what they were dealing with. The most disturbing part was the way the fleet had vanished. No wreckage, no distress signals, nothing. It was as if they had been erased from existence. Desperate for answers, the Council turned to the Velari Intelligence Network, one of the most advanced spy organizations in the galaxy. A team of elite operatives, trained to infiltrate even the most hostile territories, was tasked with uncovering the truth about humanity's hidden power. They used experimental stealth ships, cloaked so well that even the most advanced sensors couldn't detect them. Every precaution was taken. This mission was too important to fail. At first, everything seemed normal. The spies drifted into human space undetected, carefully scanning for any sign of the missing fleet. They expected to find powerful human warships, hidden military bases, or advanced weapons. But instead, they found nothing. The area where Tarkus' fleet had disappeared was completely empty. No debris, no energy signatures, not even a trace of a battle. It was as if the fleet had never existed at all. Then, strange things started happening. The spies' instruments began failing one by one. Their ship's systems flickered, shutting down at random. One of the operatives, a veteran named Kren, reported hearing whispers in the silence, voices speaking in a language he had never heard before. Another spy swore she saw shadows moving outside the ship, even though they were drifting in the void of space. Fear crept into the crew. Something was wrong. Just as they prepared to leave, their ship's engines failed completely. Panic set in. They had been so careful, so sure that they were undetectable. But something had found them. Then, the ship's main screen flickered, and a message appeared. It was not in any known language, but somehow they understood it. "You are not welcome here." The screen went black. A moment later, alarms blared. Their ship was moving, but not under their control. Some force was pulling them deeper into human space. No matter what they did, they couldn't stop it. The stars outside twisted, stretching unnaturally, as if reality itself was warping around them. The crew screamed in terror, but Kren simply stared at the screen. "You said." The ship floated in absolute silence. The crew held their breath, staring at the screens, waiting for something, anything, to happen. But there was nothing. No movement, no alarms, just a vast, empty void surrounding them. It was as if the universe itself had paused. Kren, the lead operative, slowly reached for the controls, trying to regain manual control of the ship. Nothing responded. "Try the backup systems," he ordered, his voice steady but tense. The engineer, a Drelian named Vosk, frantically worked at his console. "Everything is offline," he whispered. "Engines, communications, even life support is failing. It's like we're not even in normal space anymore." Then, the main screen flickered back to life. The message returned, but this time, it was not just words. An image appeared, a vast black structure floating in the void. It was unlike anything the spies had ever seen before. It was not a station, nor a ship. It was something else, something ancient, something impossible. And then they saw the eyes. A figure appeared on the screen, standing in what looked like a dimly lit chamber. It was humanoid in shape, but its presence was overwhelming. Its eyes glowed with a strange golden light, staring directly at them. The crew felt an unnatural pressure, as if the figure was not just looking at them, but looking through them. Who are you?" Kren managed to ask, his voice barely above a whisper. The figure did not answer at first. Instead, it simply observed them. Then, its voice rang through the ship, not through the speakers, but directly in their minds. "You were warned." Kren clenched his fists. "What did you do to Tarkus' fleet?" There was a pause. Then, the figure stepped forward, and for the first time, the crew could see the symbol on its chest, a sigil of some kind, glowing faintly with golden energy. They did not listen. Vosk gasped. This isn't natural. The space around us, it's bending." His voice was filled with terror as he pointed at the screen. The figure remained still, watching them with those eerie, glowing eyes. The ship's systems flickered uncontrollably, screens flashing random data before shutting down entirely. Kren struggled to keep his breathing steady. He had faced death before, but this was different. This wasn't just an enemy. This was something beyond their understanding. Then the figure spoke again, its voice pressing into their minds like a heavy weight. "You were warned. You should not be here." Kren clenched his fists. "You keep saying that. But what does it mean? What are you hiding?" His voice was demanding, but deep down, he already knew the answer. Humanity was not what they had believed. They were not weak. They were not primitive. They were something else entirely. The figure took another step forward, and the ship trembled. "You assume we are hiding something from you," it said, voice calm, almost amused. "You fail to understand. We are protecting you from what lies ahead." A chill ran through the crew. Protecting us? From what? Kren wanted to ask. But before he could, the image on the screen changed. It was no longer the mysterious figure standing in the dark chamber. Now, the screen showed something moving in the void. It was massive, its shape unclear, as if space itself rejected its presence. Shadows twisted unnaturally around it. No ship, no weapon in the galaxy looked like this. Vosk's hands trembled over his controls. What is that? The reason you must leave, the voice answered. The reason your fleet disappeared. They opened the door. They let it see them. Kren felt ice in his veins. You mean, Tarkus's fleet didn't disappear because of you? The figure on the screen gave the slightest nod. Your people were arrogant. They came where they were not welcome. They knocked on a door that should have stayed shut. And now, it knows you exist. The ship suddenly jolted violently, throwing the crew to the floor. The stars outside the windows shifted, bent, twisted unnaturally. The strange shadow on the screen moved. Kren scrambled back to his feet, gripping the console. What's happening? Vosk's voice was barely a whisper. I think something is coming. The golden-eyed figure spoke one last time. Run. Then the ship was released. Every system suddenly came back online. Engines roared to life. Alarms blared as navigation was restored. The crew wasted no time. Without hesitation, Kren gave the order. Get us out of here. Now. The ship turned and sped away at full power, but even as they escaped, one thought haunted Kren's mind. The humans were not the real threat. The ship raced through the darkness of space, its engines burning at maximum power. Every alarm blared. Every screen flashed warnings, but no one cared. All that mattered was escape. Kren clutched the edge of his console, eyes locked on the display. Their course was set, straight back to Galactic Council space. But no one knew if they would make it. Behind them, the void shifted. Kren couldn't describe what he saw on the screen. It wasn't just darkness, it was absence, a place where light itself refused to exist. It was moving, stretching, following them, though no sensors could detect it. Only their eyes, their instincts, could feel the presence that lurked in that void. It was as if space itself was unraveling. Vosk worked furiously at his controls, his normally steady hands trembling. We're pushing the engines beyond safety limits. Any more, and I don't care, Kren snapped. We either escape or we don't. The crew was silent. Fear thickened the air. They had entered human space expecting secrets, maybe even conflict. But what they had found was something far worse. Humanity had not wiped out Tarkus's fleet. They had warned them. And when Tarkus didn't listen, he had drawn something's attention. And now so had they. The ship shuddered violently, as if something unseen had reached out and grasped it. The lights flickered, and for a moment, time itself seemed to slow. Kren felt something press against his mind, like a whisper from a voice that did not belong in this universe. We see you now. Kren's breath caught in his throat. His fingers curled into fists as he fought against the overwhelming presence that was forcing its way into his thoughts. It was like staring into an abyss that stared back. No, not an abyss. A hunger. Then a bright flash filled the screens. The ship lurched forward violently, engines surging with unexpected force. Every console lit up at once, systems stabilizing as if some unseen force had given them a push. The gravity field around us, it's gone. Vosk gasped. Something just forced us free. Kren didn't need to guess what had happened. He knew. The humans had done something. Whether they had attacked the entity or simply forced it to retreat, humanity had just saved them. But why? The answer came before he could even voice the question. The ship's main screen flickered, and the golden-eyed figure returned. This time, its expression was not as calm as before. There was urgency in its gaze. You have been marked, the voice said. You cannot stay here. You must return to your people and deliver this warning. Kren swallowed hard. What are we dealing with? The figure remained silent for a long moment. Then, in a voice heavier than before, it answered. Something older than your council. Something older than this galaxy. You were never meant to see it. And now, it has seen you. A chill ran through the crew. The figure continued. Your leaders thought we were keeping power from them. They were wrong. We were keeping them from drawing attention. We stayed in the shadows, not because we feared the Council, but because we feared them. The ship's sensors suddenly flared with activity. Human warships, dozens of them. They had surrounded the Council ship in perfect formation. But they weren't attacking. They were escorting. The message was clear. Leave. Kren hesitated for only a moment before nodding. Take us home. The ship turned, engines roaring as they sped away. As the human fleet vanished behind them, Kren couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The galaxy had feared humanity's strength, but they had never asked what humanity feared. Now, they were about to find out. The Galactic Council was in shock. Kren and his crew had returned with a warning unlike anything ever heard before. The recording of their mission, the asterisk whispers in the void, the golden-eyed figure, the unnatural entity that had seen them, asterisk spread through the Council chambers like wildfire. What had started as a simple mission to spy on humanity had turned into something far worse. The Council members argued for hours, their voices filled with fear and disbelief. Some called Kren a liar. Others believed him but refused to accept the truth. The most powerful rulers in the galaxy, species that had conquered entire worlds, now faced an enemy they could not even see. Then, the transmission came. It was a simple message, a single warning. From Earth. Leave us alone. This is your final chance. The room fell into silence. Admiral Tortal, the highest-ranking military leader in the Council, slammed his fist on the table. We cannot allow this, he growled. We are the ruling power of this galaxy. We cannot let a single species defy us. But another Council member, an older and wiser being, spoke softly. You do not understand, Tortal, he said. They are not threatening us. They are warning us. Tortal scoffed. Warning us of what? Ghost stories. Shadows. We have fleets powerful enough to destroy entire civilizations. What do we have to fear? Kren, still recovering from the mission, looked up. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. He had seen the truth. He had felt the presence. You don't get it, Kren said quietly. You think we're the most powerful force in the galaxy. We're not. He took a deep breath before continuing. We have spent centuries thinking that we are the rulers of the stars, that we can take anything we want. But there are things out there older than us, older than the humans, and we were never meant to see them. Tortal scoffed again. And you expect us to believe that? That we should just leave them alone? Kren's hands trembled as he spoke his next words. Do you know why the humans stay in their territory? Do you know why they never expand, never fight for more power? He swallowed. Because they already know what's out there. And they have spent their entire history making sure it doesn't wake up. The Council chamber was deathly quiet. Then, another transmission came in, but this one was not from Earth. The lights flickered. The screens distorted, as if something was interfering with reality itself. And then it spoke. We see you. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Every Council member froze. The voice had no source, no origin. It was not coming through their communication systems. It was inside their minds. Tortal stumbled back, clutching his head. No, this is a trick, he shouted, but his voice shook. Then the lights cut out. The massive windows that overlooked the stars suddenly turned black. Not like space, not like the natural darkness of the void. This was a living blackness. Something was watching them. Kren's heart pounded as he whispered, "It's too late." Then the golden-eyed figure appeared, not on a screen, in the room. You did not listen, it said, its voice carrying the weight of something far beyond mortal understanding. Now it knows you exist. Panic erupted. Some council members tried to run. Others screamed, but there was nowhere to go. The entity had already seen them. The golden-eyed figure spoke one last time. You thought you ruled this galaxy. You were wrong. Your time is over. The darkness moved.